This is your News Source Evening Bulletin for today, Friday, the 23rd day of April in the year 2021. I'm Gordon Mosley. Here's what we're tracking tonight. Despite the ExxonMobil company having a number of safety measures in place for workers heading to its offshore operations, 14 rotational workers based on the Noble Tom Madden drill ship operating offshore Guyana have tested positive for COVID-19. The Public and Government Affairs Advisor for ExxonMobil Guyana, Janelle Passad, confirmed the development to News Source this afternoon. Ms. Passad said all 14 of the workers have been placed in isolation. She explained that 11 of them remain in isolation on the Noble Tom Madden drill ship, while 3 others have been transferred to isolation facilities under the care and custody of their contracted employer. Passad pointed out, too, that all 14 of the cases appear to be asymptomatic. Some of the persons, however, have reportedly complained of mild symptoms. She also said plans are in place to safely transport the remaining positive workers onshore, should it become necessary.
I wish to assure you that safe and healthy workplaces remains a top priority for ExxonMobil Guyana and its contractors. We have well-established processes in place to manage impacts related to infectious disease outbreaks, which have allowed us, really, to identify these cases early. There are medical personnel on board our offshore facilities, and they're taking necessary precautions to monitor the health of the workers and provide appropriate treatment and care. Operations at our 6 drill ships, including the Noble Tom Madden and the Lisa Destiny FPSO, remain unaffected at this time.
The Exxon official reminded that in April last year, ExxonMobil Guyana established COVID-19 prevention screening facilities in and out of the country to cater for the transfer of workers into Guyana and to the offshore operations.
You may recall that in April of 2020, ExxonMobil Guyana established COVID-19 prevention screening facilities in country and abroad to safely manage rotators coming in and departing the country. And since this arrangement began, we successfully transferred more than 10,000 persons without a positive case offshore.
The Public and Government Affairs Advisor for the company said the operations at the 6 drill ships operating offshore Guyana and the Lisa Destiny oil production vessel remain unaffected. News Source has learned that the company is probing the positive cases that have been confirmed to trace whether its quarantine system was compromised. Rotation workers heading to the offshore operations are usually quarantined for 2 weeks at specific hotels in the city. They are not allowed to leave the facilities during the period and also not allowed visitors. Additionally, they would undergo COVID-19 testing multiple times while preparing to go offshore. In the past 2 months, Guyana has seen a surge in new coronavirus infections. More than 2,000 new cases of the virus have been recorded in the country in the past 22 days. More news coming up in just a moment.
Guyana, we've been through it all.
But as a people, we have
weathered every storm
and risen to every challenge.
Because it is the people of Guyana
that gives it its strength.
all the people,
regardless of race,
class, or religion.
We are one people, one strength.
And now is our time. A time to rise. Together, we rise.
At Sash Financial, we create strategies for strengthening business and personal finances while helping our clients to build sustainable wealth. Our financial and business consultancy services are uniquely tailored to ensure every client receives quality packages and optimal results. Our financial services include financial reporting and analysis, financial status assessment, internal audits, bookkeeping and records management, financial planning advice, tax returns. Our business advisory services are related to business plans, business startups, operational improvement, business management, document preparation, procedures development, efficient marketing. Call or WhatsApp us today for your free consultation on telephone number 592-665-6045. Sash Financial, strengthening businesses, building wealth.
It's trendy to share your vacation plans, photos, and location on social media. But do you know who is seeing your posts? Sharing that you're on vacation or a business can signal to potential burglars that your home is empty. Using location services can also allow people to track your whereabouts, making you an easy target for theft. Be aware of what information you share about your location and your possessions. Remember, what goes online stays online. Stop oversharing and get safe online.
We are legions of men standing strong, but never too proud to stoop and help someone. We must send a clear signal to all. Do right, walk in upright ways, knowing that's what being a man is all about. And ever aware that things will only get worse when good men do nothing. Stand strong, be the one to live right.
Mom, what are you doing with GPL on your list?
Child, you forgot I have to pay GPL?
You got time with GPL?
I have to keep these lights on. The customers who think in that manner and refuse to honor their obligation to GPL are obviously not playing their part in ensuring quality service delivery. So, I will continue to pay my GPL bill on time, every time.
I recognize the value of your point, Mom. You were right.
Welcome back. Today, Guyana recorded its highest single-day increase in new coronavirus cases since the pandemic was confirmed in the country a year ago. The Ministry of Health this afternoon revealed that 214 new cases of the virus have been recorded in the past 24 hours. All 10 administrative regions have recorded new cases. Regions 4 and 3 continue to lead the country in new infections. A total of 89 new cases were recorded in Region 4, while Region 3 has seen a total of 48 new cases. The two regions also have the highest number of active cases, with more than 800 of the active cases in Region 4. Region 3 has more than 400 active cases. The spike in COVID-19 has been showing a steady trend in the past 2 months. In the past 22 days in this month of April, a total of 2,199 new cases of the virus have been confirmed. The situation is worrying, as the hospitals across the country are also seeing an increase in the number of hospitalizations. There are currently 70 persons hospitalized, with a majority of them in the COVID hospital at Liliendal. Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony today said persons need to get vaccinated and continue practicing the safety measures.
We want to increase these numbers, and we have been working with a number of partners in the community leaders and so forth, to try to increase our numbers. As you know, we do have enough vaccines in the country, and we want to get those in people's arms as quickly as possible. It doesn't make sense that you have the vaccines and you have them in storage. The only way that vaccines would help people is if you get it in people's arms, and that's what we're trying to do. So any organization, business, NGO, faith-based, who want to partner with us, please reach out to us so that we can work with you to get the vaccines into people's arms.
Since the start of the vaccination drive, more than 115,000 persons have received the first dose of the vaccine. Almost a year after writing the CX examinations in the middle of the early weeks of the COVID-19 pandemic, two students from Queen's College have emerged as the top performers in the region at both the CSEC and Cape level. At the Caribbean Advanced Proficiency level, Zain Ramatara of Queen's College emerged as the top Cape student in Guyana and the Caribbean. Naomi Cambridge of St. Rose's High and Christian Pyle of Queen's College locked in the number 2 and number 3 spots at the Cape level. The top CSEC student in the country and the Caribbean is Badish Prasad of Queen's College. He gained 22 grade 1s and 1 grade 2. In the number 2 spot is Davina Surutan of the Anna Regina Secondary School, while Swati Saitu of the Anna Regina School locked in the 3rd spot. Education Minister Priya Manik-Chan this afternoon said she's pleased with the performance of the students, especially since the exams were written under trying circumstances during the pandemic.
I want to remind you that ordinarily we would announce all the students who got 12 grade 1s and more. But because there are still some outstanding reviews from CXC that we have not yet received, the last date we received review results was on the 29th of January of this year. And some of those results, if they were changed, could change what the picture looked like beyond these top 10 students. We are reluctant at this point to announce those names. I wish to say to those students though, the students who was 11th in the country and 15th in the country, that as soon as we have that information, we will announce it publicly and celebrate you because you deserve to be celebrated.
This year's examinations are also being written during the pandemic. Schools across the country have been closed for the past year. However, students who have been preparing for the regional examinations have been allowed to attend face-to-face learning sessions in their school. Most of the classes are being conducted virtually. The 2020 CXC examinations were reviewed after thousands of students across the region complained about their grades. The regional examination body was forced to launch a major review and reassess the grades that were awarded. Now let's turn to the education sector. Chief Education Officer Dr. Marcel Hudson has announced that the Ministry of Education has made a decision to cancel grades 2, 4, and 9 assessment examinations as well as the placement exams for this year. The decision comes as the Education Ministry continues to deal with the impact of the current COVID-19 pandemic.
The Ministry of Education wishes to inform the general public that due to the adverse effects of the COVID-19 pandemic on the education sector, the national grades 2, 4, and 9 and the placement examinations will not be written in 2021. We recognize the hardships our students would have been experiencing in terms of their readiness and preparedness for these examinations, and we also recognize the need for us to ensure that our students are safe.
As a result of the cancellations of those specific exams, the CEO said emphasis will be placed on students who are transitioning into the public school system from private schools.
So as a result, what we will see is the private schools who are desirous, students from the private schools who are desirous of entering the public schools will be placed at the school awarded from the results of the National Grade 6 assessment. In addition, remigrant learners will be placed in appropriate List A and B secondary schools closer to their homes.
According to the Chief Education Officer, the Assistant Chief Education Officers and Regional Education Officers are responsible for the new process, which is hoped to be carried out effectively. Minister of Education Priya Manik-Chan recently announced that the National Grade 6 assessment exams will be held in August. More than 14,000 students from across the country are set to write those examinations, known as Common Entrance. Well, former President David Granger today said he is not distracted by persons who criticize him and who want him out of the PNC leadership in wake of the 2020 general and regional elections. Mr. Granger has not yet confirmed or denied whether he will be seeking re-election for the PNC leadership. But today he said his aim is to ensure his party and by extension the coalition is returned to government.
What happened or what was announced on the 2nd of August is not a defeat. You know, it has encouraged me to do a closer review and introspection. And that is why I've been going out into the regions. That is why I've been doing these outreaches, you know. And that's why they're not only thank you meetings. Of course I say thanks. I've been to the regions to tell people thanks, to tell my supporters thanks. But it's also encouragement to continue to examine the party structure and work towards regaining office.
During his public interest television program, Mr. Granger said the People's National Congress reform must now build from where it left off. He said he prefers to deal with issues and not personalities. But despite that, Mr. Granger said he is confident that he has the support of a majority of PNC members given his performance over the years, both in government and as party leader.
The members of the PNC know me. They know that I have moved the performance of the PNC from what it was before in the early 2000s, I am the first leader of the PNC to be elected president since 1985. I am the first leader of the PNC to have been elected president of the country since 1985, since Mr. Desmond Tutu. So they know that. They're not all on Facebook, but they know the truth about my performance.
Mr. Granger is of the view that his problems as party leader began not only on the post-election matter, but also the exclusion of several senior party members from the parliamentary list. He said while those criticisms may be justifiable, his actions are always justifiable. Sophia minibus driver Collis White, who was caught on camera earlier this week chasing a traffic police officer with a cutlass during a traffic stop, will be spending the next 12 months in jail. White appeared in 2 different courtrooms this morning to face a total of 14 charges in relation to the traffic stop and the cutlass chasing incident. He was first charged for resisting arrest, disorderly behavior, carrying an offensive weapon, threatening behavior, and using indecent language towards an officer of the law. The minibus driver told Magistrate Lerone Daly that he was guilty of all of the charges, except the charge of disorderly behavior. He was sentenced to 12 months in jail on the 4 other charges, while the matter concerning disorderly behavior will come up again in court in the next 3 weeks. In the traffic court, he faced charges of failure to wear a seatbelt, 4 counts of dangerous driving, breach of road fitness, failure to wear a face mask, and misconduct. He was fined $7,500 for not wearing a face mask. He pleaded not guilty to the other charges. Bail was granted in the sum of $240,000, but he was still bundled off to jail to begin his 12-month sentence that was imposed by the other court. The minibus driver earlier this week was spotted by a traffic rank overtaking several vehicles along Homestretch Avenue. He was ordered to stop but continued driving after first slowing down. As he made his way to Sheriff Street, the motorcycle riding traffic rank managed to force him to stop. The angry minibus driver could then be seen on camera leaving the driver's side of the bus and grabbing a cutlass from the passenger side. He then chased after the policeman while wielding the cutlass and issuing threats. White was later arrested at his home and taken into custody. The entire incident was captured on phone cameras by a number of persons.
More employers are using social media to monitor employees. Here are some ways to maintain professionalism online. Never share confidential information about anyone, whether colleagues or clients. Do not share inappropriate posts from work gatherings. Keep company social media posts neutral. Never argue or make offensive comments. Never complain about your job to clients. Remember, what goes online stays online. Stop oversharing and get safe online.
I took the vaccine. My name is Gordon Mosley and I took the vaccine on Friday. And I'm encouraging you, if you've made the choice, go take the vaccine. Protect yourself against COVID-19. COVID-19 is no joke. I've been covering the story from day one and it scares me and it should scare you too. So there are vaccination sites all around. Go to the Ministry of Health's Facebook page, follow the information, keep your mask on and go take the vaccine. You'll be happy you did. Across the region tonight, Barbados has eased some of its COVID-19 restrictions, but the resumption of face-to-face classes for students will have to wait a bit longer, as the Ministry of Education has been unable to complete the cleanup of more than 70 schools affected by the ash fall from the volcano in neighboring St. Vincent. Online classes will restart on Tuesday, with teachers reporting the day before the Prime Minister reported. The Prime Minister also said picnics, fetes, parties and karaoke events remain prohibited across the island, as do contact sports such as football, netball and basketball. Practice sessions for sports can also be conducted by individuals, but no spectators will be permitted. Cinemas and drive-ins are now allowed to open, though with only 25 people allowed in concessionary areas at a time, which will be policed by the COVID-19 monitoring unit. In Jamaica, all public bodies in the country have been asked by the Integrity Commission to furnish it with detailed particulars concerning contract cost overruns and/or variations that were incurred during the last financial year. They have been given until the end of May to do so. The Commission cites that the Government of Jamaica's Handbook for Public Sector's Procurement Procedures defines a cost overrun as an increase in the contract sum resulting from escalation in the price of labor and/or material, while a variation is defined as a change to the deliverables under a contract caused by an increase or decrease in the scope of work to be performed. It says the initiative, which will be supported by a new web-based system, is geared towards ensuring enhanced regularity, compliance, value for money, accountability and transparency in the expenditure of taxpayer funds on the award and implementation of government contracts in Jamaica. The data, which will be requisitioned annually, will also be tabled in the Parliament and published, the Commission has pointed out. And finally tonight, international news. Japan has announced emergency COVID measures in Tokyo and 3 other areas in a bid to curb rising infections, just 3 months before the country is set to host the Olympics. The government said the state of emergency, set to last for about 2 weeks, would be short and powerful. Under the measures, bars will be required to close and big sporting events will be held without spectators. The government has insisted that the Olympics will go ahead in July. Announced the measures earlier today, saying that they would begin on Sunday and remain in place until the 11th of May. In addition to Tokyo, Osaka, Kyoto and Hyogo will be affected. It marks the 3rd state of emergency in Japan since the pandemic began more than a year ago. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting. Have a safe weekend.